Next here tonight, a former Metro police officer convicted of murder may be getting a new trial. Ronald Mortensen was found guilty in 1997 of a deadly drive-by shooting. On Monday, a judge vacated his conviction. Abel Garcia is in studio tonight with more on what led to this latest ruling.
Joe, the federal judge ruling that key evidence was withheld and the jury wasn't properly instructed on the law. Now, nearly 30 years later, the Clark County District Attorney must decide whether to retry the case. I spoke with former DA David Roger to learn more about the challenges ahead.
We, the jury in the above entitled case, having found the defendant Ronald Lawrence Mortensen guilty.
Nearly 3 decades after former LVMPD officer Ronald Mortensen was sentenced to life in prison without parole for the 1996 drive-by shooting and killing of Daniel Mendoza, he will now have a chance at a new trial. David Roger, who served as Clark County District Attorney from 2003 to 2012, has prosecuted numerous high-profile cases and tells me Mortensen's conviction was significant at the time.
I think that the community was shocked that a police officer would be accused of doing a drive-by shooting. Mortensen was prosecuted, convicted, and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole.
The case was built largely on the testimony of another officer, Christopher Brady, who was with Mortensen that night. Both were off duty. On December 27th of 1996, Brady and Mortensen were allegedly driving around recklessly and drunk. Brady later testified that they believed they could intimidate local gang members, drug dealers, and residents because they considered them undesirable. Brady claimed Mortensen pulled the trigger. Mortensen, however, said it was Brady who fired the shots. But on Monday, a U.S. District Court Judge Kent Jossin ruled that prosecutors failed to properly instruct the jury on premeditation, one of the key elements needed for a first-degree murder conviction.
These cases are always difficult. The law is constantly changing. The premeditation deliberation instruction that was given to the jury was an instruction that had been used many times before. In this case, the court found that the instruction was faulty.
The judge also found that the state suppressed key evidence statements suggesting Brady had previously talked about wanting to commit a drive-by shooting.
This case really isn't about whether law enforcement is getting any special privileges. This person was a rogue cop. He was charged and convicted of murder in the first degree. This wasn't a shooting that occurred in the course and scope of his duties.
Now, Clark County District Attorney Steve Wolfson must decide if the state will retry Mortensen, a difficult decision according to Roger, with aging evidence and witnesses.
What challenges do you think that this prosecution now faces if we do decide to retry this case with nearly after 3 decades of it happening?
District Attorney Wolfson's going to have to decide whether to retry the case. One of the things that a prosecutor will look at is whether the witnesses are still available.
If the DA chooses not to retry the case, Roger tells me Mortensen will walk free, and that could open the door to costly lawsuits.
Mr. Mortensen will sue the state of Nevada prosecutors for civil rights violations. It could cost the state of Nevada millions.
Mortensen had made multiple attempts to secure a retrial in the past, but each effort was unsuccessful. Now, I did reach out to Clark County District Attorney Steve Wolfson's office for comment on whether to retry Mortensen. As of this newscast, we have not heard back from them. Reporting in studio, I'm Abel Garcia. I'll send it back to you.